Um, Hi and hello and all those warm greetings this morning. I I've like watched my first 3 episodes and I hate it. Maybe I'm a perfectionist. Maybe it's some OCD. I don't know what it is. But here's what I don't like. My last 3 episodes are all been stuff I've journaled. They've all been based off of I woke up, I'm journaling, I'm doing some self reflecting, thoughts come in, and I'll write them down. And then I'm like, oh, this is going to make this. I think I want to talk about this. And then I attempt to take what I've written in my journal or self reflected on and put it in a script so that it isn't all over the place and that it comes out maybe clear and concise or whatever. But the problem that I'm finding with that is when I'm listening back to the recordings is I sense a lot of being in my head. And it kind of made me see that, and I think this happens often. And I also believe I see this in some other people as well, where we are writing something down from our heart. We're self-reflecting, we're journaling, maybe we're writing a letter, we're writing, a personalized note, maybe we're writing a class or anything of that nature. Sorry, I had to cough there. And it is coming from a vulnerable space. It is coming from our intuition, from our heart space. But then when it comes time to read it, that now is analyzing. That is now in the head. We're not in the same space that we were in when writing it. And so it doesn't come off the same. And I definitely know this for me. I do think I've sensed it from others at times when I've had them present things or I've seen them present things and I get this. I can see, I can sense the headness that they're in. I can sense the mind that they're in when reading this. And they're not in the heart space. They're not just allowing it to come up. So I've decided to just ditch that. I've decided that I'm not going to script it. I don't enjoy that. I didn't enjoy watching myself. Someone told me once, like, don't watch yourself. Maybe, maybe that's why. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. But also, another thing I noticed is, I kind of go into things and I say, this is how it must be done. This is how I must do something. This is how it must be created. And I must do it a certain way. And then if it doesn't get done that certain way, I beat myself up. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what are you? You didn't do it this way. You fucking failed. You suck. I get this harsh critic in my head because I didn't follow through with what I had said. And then that's kind of when I realized that I don't operate that way, though. Not with everything. I don't want to have to publish a fucking video every Tuesday. Some days I just don't want to do it. Some days I don't have anything I want to talk about. And I don't want to have to be forced. So I'm going to scrap that idea and just post whenever the fuck I feel like it. I'm just going to make a video when I feel like making a video and ditch the whole in my head thing about it and allow myself just to be free and authentic with it. I mean, that is what I'm going for anyway, right? Authentic dialogues. And I feel a lot more authentic when I'm able to just speak from what I'm experiencing and what I'm feeling, and self-reflecting in that way. It doesn't mean I'm going to not journal and self-reflect. I'll always keep that going. I think it's just when it comes to sharing parts of my life or conversations or the thoughts in my head, just do it, record it when I feel like it and have those conversations when I want it, which I do hope to have conversations with people. Like I mentioned it on towards the end of my last episode. Like that's where I thrive. I love connecting with people and getting deep with people. I don't want to be this surface level conversationalist. That's just not who I am. I enjoy those deeper conversations. So I want to be able to have people that I can go back and forth with so that I am not staying on the surface of myself. I'm really good at getting deep with myself, but not always. I'm human. So there's times that, it's not even about being human. It's easier to get deeper for myself when there's someone there to be able to reflect back to me the things I'm saying or the things I'm bringing up, or open up new, ways of thinking maybe, or something, bring in a perspective to something. It's easier to get deeper with myself when there's that there. When I'm just speaking by myself, kind of just going on a rant, I guess. So I think what's coming to my mind right now is I don't need to do anything first off, but I'm not going to beat myself up for my words. The last couple weeks have been pretty powerful for me. It's like 3 weeks, I think. Have been really transformational in a lot of ways for me. And I think the other day it really hit me about rewiring kind of something that I've been struggling with. And I think a lot of us struggle with this. This isn't just a me issue. I don't believe this is just an issue of being a man either, though I do wonder if perhaps there's more pressure on me that I put my own pressure on myself, because as a man, I do have this idea of providing and protecting. And when I don't have anything to provide, I don't have anything. I mean, I have stuff to protect, but I don't have anything to provide. What the fuck am I doing with my life? But I really think a lot of people can go through what I'm kind of going through right now. And especially single parents definitely are going to go through it, of just not feeling necessarily worthy because I'm not able to do a lot of things for my kids. So I've beaten myself up about that a lot recently. One, within the last year, my divorce, over a year, it's just over a year now since my divorce, since the separation, and that one, right, I can't even keep a family together, right? Like that's my thought. Can't keep a family together. I lost my job in technically June, but I guess July. And now I'm having to leave the apartment that I'm in. I'm being, evicted. I hate saying it because it hurts my pride. Being evicted from this place because I have no job. And it's not for lack of trying. That's for damn sure. So here I am, not able to provide, feeling like I can't give anything to my kids. What am I going to do for Christmas? I don't know. What the fuck am I going to do for Christmas for them? All these thoughts go to my head, and it's really affected my self-worth. Made me feel really low on myself. Made me feel like I'm deserving of all this because of the man that may have been in the past. Because in my 20s, I was a piece of shit, man. As a teenager, I was angry. I treated people horribly. My 20s was basically until I went sober from alcohol when I was 24, I think, 25. I don't know. My timeline's all messed up. How old's my daughter? 8. What am I, 37? Damn, I was older than 24, 25. I was 27, I guess. 20, 27, 28. 27, 28. And where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, decided to go sober before that time. So before I was 28. So teenager, so about 20 years old, I treated people like shit. I didn't care about people. I really didn't care about myself. Which was very rude to people. I did things that I regret to this day, that I just have a lot of shame and guilt that I'm working through. I just wasn't a great person. And so here I am struggling in life, and I deserve this. This is what I deserve. Eddie, you deserve to struggle because you don't deserve shit. You can't provide. You can't keep a family together. You can't keep a job. You can't take care of your kids for Christmas. Like, this is what you get for being a piece of shit human. This is what you get for being who you are. This is what this is what you're worthy of. And that's been really hard. And I was beating myself up for it quite a bit. And I didn't tell myself anything, but now that I'm getting emotional about it, I don't want to. The last 2 weeks, 3 weeks though, people have really come through for me that I know that they've been distant in my life. They haven't even been the closest people in my life. They've been people that I've kept at a distance for one reason or the other, or just they're just people that have been in the background, they've just been in the distant. And here I am being evicted from my place, not knowing what I'm going to do, not knowing where I'm going to live. And then someone offers me their basement. The crazy thing is, someone offered me their basement, a 1 bedroom. It has like a little small kind of kitchenette type setup, kind of. And they offered that. And I was so like, I didn't know what to do. I was beside myself. Definitely grateful for that opportunity. And the crazy thing is, they were the first one to offer. And then no, they weren't the first one to offer. Someone else offered. They lived kind of far away. I didn't want to drive that back and forth. It'd be over like 2 hours of driving a day to get my kids to school when I had them. That's not a place I wanted to be with my kids. If I had to, absolutely. Worst comes to we're like that. Yes, absolutely. If I'm going to do what I need to for my kids. So it was definitely on there, and I was grateful for that opportunity. Then people finally close to where I'm at now offered at the same time, like three people offered at the same time for situations. And so I kind of had this sense of gratitude of like, oh, wow, like people, it just took them a bit, because I had talked about like my struggles publicly, about what I was looking for. And I didn't get any responses back for like a while. People were sending me, ideas. People were doing that, but no one was really offering, which is totally fine. I didn't expect people to offer, but I was set by, like, what else do I do? Right. So they offered, I got offered a few times. I went, checked out the place with my girls. Super awesome place. Then at the same time, someone had commented on my post talking about like wanting to help take care of my girls for Christmas. And the last thing I wanted to do at the time was admit that I couldn't take care of my girls for Christmas. Like, come on, I'm not a piece of shit. Like, that's when I'm telling myself. I was like, nah, I got my girls. I can take care of them. A couple weeks goes by, and like I realized, like, I don't think I can. I think a week went by, whatever. I don't think I can. I don't know what I'm going to do for Christmas for my girls. I mean, I'm not a big Christmas guy in terms of gifts. I don't care to go all out and extravagant. I don't mind sharing gifts because I want them to have the joy of doing that. But to me, Christmas has always been more about like enjoying family time, enjoying just the joy of the holidays. It hasn't really been about gifts. So for me, I was kind of living with that. I'm like, all right, I guess this is an opportunity for me to share with my girls that the spirit of Christmas shouldn't be about gifts necessarily, that I don't believe it should be, and that just being the gift of family and love and having each other healthy is the best gift I think we could ask for. But I set that aside, and I reached out to the friend who had offered, and told them like, yeah, this is hard for me to ask. I don't want to set my pride aside, but I do need the help. And they did. And when I went and picked up those gifts, I wasn't expecting much. I wasn't expecting anything. They offered, I was like, cool, they're going to get them a couple toys, but she really took care of my girls. And I sat in the car and I just cried, and I was able to kind of have that conversation with myself of like, I'm not a bad person. If I was a bad person, if I was somebody that deserved to be shit on by the universe, I guess to say, if I was such a bad person, people wouldn't do this for me. People wouldn't step up. People wouldn't see the light or the nature of who I am as a person and reach out and want to take care of me. People don't do that for people that they don't see as worth it. They just don't, we make exceptions for family members sometimes, but overall with people in life, like if they're a bad person, we don't go out of our way to take care of them. We typically don't. It's not necessarily in our nature. At least that's my belief. And that's through my experience of just watching and observing and, I guess my evidence behind that would be, look at the homeless population that are struggling, and a lot of them with drugs, some of them with drugs. And you don't see people bringing them into their homes. You don't see people buying them their kids Christmas presents. And, you don't see them doing the things like that because they're not they're not, I guess maybe they're not out there asking for it. I don't know. Maybe that's why I got it, because I asked for it. I reached out and said, I need help. I don't know. But my whole point is I was able to really rewire the things that I was telling myself and rewire the thoughts that I had and tell myself, like, if you were a bad person, Eddie, people want to be offering you these things. People want to be allowing you to come into their home and share their home with you and your girls. Why would, like, they want to do that? They want to reach out to you and want to buy your kids presents for Christmas so that they can enjoy a Christmas. If you were a bad person, though, I don't believe these things would happen. And so I'm able to kind of sit with that and really overpower those voices in my head that say I'm not worth it because I'm struggling. And I think that's true. I think the more I sit with it, it's so interesting to me how we can do that with ourselves. I know I do, and I know I'm not the only one. So I'm definitely speaking to everyone, not just going to say it to myself, that just because we're struggling, just because we're going through a time of pain, hurt, of struggle, where it seems like we're just stuck in the mud, I think the important thing to remind ourselves is that we get to get through this. And sometimes in order to get through it, we deserve to have a community around us. We deserve to reach out to people. And we got to set aside that pride, set aside that part of our ego that says, oh man, if we ask out, what are we worth? Because we're worth a lot. If I put about it and if I think about it and put it into perspective, I would like to think that my life, the life I want to live, and how I want to be in life is well worth me being able to ask for help whenever I need it and setting that pride aside. And I think that's really hard for a lot of us because we live in a society, I feel, tells us what we must and must not do, how we must and must not be, and how things must look. I think it's definitely the society we live in, and we have to defeat that. I think it's probably one of the hardest things for a lot of us to overcome. And a thing that really comes to me is realizing that can come from the most unexpected places. The people that have helped me, the person I'm moving into their house with, into their basement, and the individual who got presents for my kids they're not people I'm very close to. They're very beautiful, loving people, but I know them. I've gone through some stuff with them. With the girl who gave us presents, beautiful time with her and doing a training. I don't even know how long ago that was. I went through Impact with her. I don't know how long ago that was. But, to go and do that and have that as a blessing is amazing. And then for this family to take me in, and they have kids of their own, and they, the way it was explained to me is they sat down with their kids and said, hey, this is what we want to do. And they made sure their kids were okay with it too. So they're like, how awesome is that they, not only they, but their kids are like, yeah, let's open up our home to me and my girls. It's pretty awesome. Even though I barely know them. That's crazy. I want to say, I know the people I'm moving in. I know them enough. I know them well enough. And I've known them for years. It's just never been a close relationship, and I consider them friends. It's just never been like super close, though they've been there, especially my friend Josh. He saw me probably at my worst one day. So that was, he was there for me on a particular day. That was it's a pretty great chaotic day. So, but it's weird to say things like that sometimes because I feel like I connect with so many people. Even I could connect with somebody one day and not see them for the rest of my life, but I would still hold that connection very close to me. So even though I say they're not necessarily people I'm super close with, I guess the reality is they're just not people that are in my everyday life. They're people I'm close with because they're people I care about. They're people that I have memories with, that I cherish. They're people that I adore and love. So it's not necessarily people that are distant. Maybe the word I'm really looking for is they're just people that aren't in my everyday life. They're not people I interact with majority of the time. They're people I interact with very seldom, very rarely. They're not the first people I would think. I've had hiccups. They're not the very first people I would think would jump up to offer me help, offer their homes to me. And yet they did it. So point being, I guess, is we, you, I, all of us that maybe struggle with this same aspect of the self-worth, and that we're not worthy, and that we don't deserve help, and that we're maybe afraid to reach out, to fucking just do it. What's on the other side? Why struggle? We don't need to struggle alone. It's a very Western society mindset. There's no point in struggling alone. We have community around us. Sometimes we got to reach out to find out who that community is, to find out those people that maybe we didn't know were part of our community, that see us, we didn't know see us. I don't know. That's where my help came from. It came from people I didn't know saw me, people that don't interact with me. I did it publicly on social media, which is kind of just the reality we live in nowadays. And they don't interact with my posts. They don't comment. They don't like them. I had no idea they saw me. And then to get reached out saying, hey, we saw your post. I'm like, you did? Like, I had no idea. And for them to offer their homes. I guess that's another reminder too. We might think people aren't looking, but they are. We might think people aren't paying attention, but they are. And I think that's kind of the shit thing about how we can sometimes interact on social media. We think, people aren't seeing us, but they are. You can post on there thinking no one's going to see it. Oh, just because only 2 people liked it means only 2 people saw it. No, everyone saw it. Hundreds of people saw it. You just happen to have only 2 people like it. You only had a few people comment. Out of those few, if 10 people commented, probably 500 people saw it, whatever the case may be. So I think that's a big thing. Like I think that's a huge thing for me. So I'm very excited. Another aspect of this too that I totally failed to mention is that people have also offered up their space for me to go and receive their gifts. Yoga teachers, breathwork facilitators, cacao ceremonies, sound baths, facilitators that put these on, reaching out to me saying, hey, come. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but right now, that's not on my budget. And they're knowing where I'm at in life and saying, it doesn't matter. Come anyways. The space is yours. You deserve this healing just like everybody else. Don't let the money be an issue, and come. So if people would be able to open their arms to that, like people don't do that for people. People don't do that for people that aren't trying. People don't do that for people that are shitty people. People don't do that for people they think are a bad person. Right. And I don't know. And maybe it even goes beyond that. Right. Because I don't want it to make it sound like, oh, if you're not getting help, people aren't doing these things, you're a shitty person. I think that's where the part of like being able to be authentic with what we're going through, being able to be transparent with what we're going through is important. Because I know people that struggle and they're not open about it. They just figure it out themselves. They're not transparent. They're not authentic in their struggles with people. Whereas maybe if you were, you would see assistance come in from places you didn't know it could be possible. I've had food delivered to my door from strangers before. How'd that happen? I've been part of that too. That's really fun. You ever want to do something fun, get together with your friends, put a Thanksgiving meal, a holiday meal together, put it in a basket, drop it on someone's random door in some low-income place, low-income apartments. Do that, man. Change someone's freaking holidays, it's fun. I've done that. That feels good to do. See, my thoughts are all over the place. I'm having so much I'm having a lot of thoughts just race through my mind about how I need to end this recording, just re-record it, because maybe you said stuff that's going to be taken out of context or taken oddly or weirdly. And I'm like fucking done with that. I don't care. I do not care how it's taken. Fuck it. I don't care. I know what I mean. I know what I stand by, and I know how I see life and appreciate people and love the people in my life. So I don't really care. Things are taken out of context or taken wrongly or taken in a certain way. And I think there's this, I think some of it's still probably some of that nice guy that I have sometimes with the people pleaser. And oh my God, I don't want to upset somebody because I said something that they might take out of context. Oh, so Eddie, what you're saying is people are shit humans if they don't get help. Like, no, I'm not saying that. I hope no one takes that away, but that's what my mind does. It's so fucking annoying. God, it's so annoying. So annoying. But anyways, I don't really care. This feels good to do, just to put something out there authentically. Not that the other episodes aren't authentic, because they are. They're just not, they're not in the moment. They're writing down on a piece of paper into a script my thoughts that I had earlier in the day or the day prior. And that's just not how I want to do these. I want to be authentic as possible with them. And that means, to me, being in the moment, present with the things that I say. So here I am. That's what I'm doing. I'm sure over time I'll get better at this. Still new. But I enjoy it. And I think there's just, I don't know, maybe someone watches this today or watches this sometime in the future and they're like, damn, I needed that too. I needed to hear that I am worthy of asking for help and that it is okay to reach out and ask and be authentic with what I'm going through, because what else? Why not? What's the worst that can happen? Besides your ego taking a hit saying, oh my God, now people know you're struggling. Who gives a shit? Especially right now. Who cares? What matters is not what people think of you. What matters is that you are safe, protected, provided, cared for, that you and your family are good, and that your mental health is good. You're good. You deserve to be taken care of. And if you're struggling with aspects of that, you get to reach out, especially mentally. But if you're financially struggling, ask. It's okay. Yeah, it sucks. It doesn't necessarily feel good. It kind of hurts, but set that aside, because at the end of the day, you matter more than you don't. Getting help matters more than not. Oh, people think something of you? Who cares? I said this to a friend once, and I mean this, and he was going through a divorce, and during the divorce, something was publicly put out there that didn't necessarily look good on him. And, you know, he was really concerned about what people were going to think about him. And he wanted to put out there his own little post about, well, you know, his own little public statement of like, hey, this isn't what happened. This is blah, you know, put his own story out there. And I was like, you know, fuck other people. If people are going to take that post and say that, oh, he's this horrible person, and they're not going to come to you and ask you for your side, if they're not going to sit there and say, hey, you know, this is what was said, like what's going on, if they're not going to be there, then they weren't there for you in the first place. So if you're going to reach out and you're going to ask for help and say, hey, I'm struggling, and that's going to affect a friendship with somebody, then fuck them. They weren't your friend. They're not someone who was in your corner. They don't deserve to be part of your community. They're going to be someone that says, no, I don't want to be part of this. Like, I can't believe he's asking for help. What a little bitch or whatever. Oh, he's not a man. He's asking for help. Fuck those people. You don't need them in your life anyway. So who cares if they think that you are whatever they might think? Who cares? You don't need to do that. So who cares what other people think, what other people say? Those people don't matter to you. You don't need them in your life. If they want to think that, they're not in your corner. They're not your friend. They're not your support. They're not there for you. They get to go, let them go be there with somebody else. They're not there for you. So ask for help. Don't worry about what other people think from the things you say, which is a great reminder to me as I talk on this fucking as I make this episode, right? Like, who cares what people think about things I've said? I don't care. At the end of the day, I'm doing this for me to feel good about the thoughts in my head and get them out, to have an outlet for me to have these conversations. I might say shit that people might be like, what the fuck? They don't agree with. Great. Don't agree with me. I don't care. Let's talk about it. I would love to know why you don't agree. Maybe I said something that offended you. Let's clarify it first. And if I did offend you, well, obviously it wasn't intentional. I don't even know who the fuck watches these things. Obviously didn't intentionally mean to hurt you or offend you. My bad that it did, but these are just my thoughts. These are just my opinion. This is just what I'm going through. This is just me being authentic with my life. And I guess that offends you. It offends you. Why does it offend you? I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, I feel like this is just a 30-minute long episode of me. I don't even know. I don't care. I really don't. You know what helped me get on today? I don't know how long to make these episodes because I could keep talking. Like, do people really want to fucking just hear me bullshit for an hour? It's been 30 minutes. I'm sure people have already turned this off. Who's listening to this whole fucking episode? Like, who's going to do that? You know, someone. I'm sure. I know. I mean, I can see the stats. I know people have listened to the full episodes. But, you know, what really helped me today was actually watching a documentary last night. Such a great, it's so great to watch people speak up authentically. The documentary I watched last night was about Aaron Rodgers on Netflix called Enigma. And I remember when Aaron Rodgers was getting his shit. Like, he was celebrated. Aaron Rodgers was put on this pedestal of one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Kind of in that same conversation of like, he hasn't won many Super Bowls, but he's won one. He's an amazing quarterback. He's probably the best quarterback we've ever seen. He's just he's a goat at the position. He's one of the greatest of all times. And then COVID happened. He came out, said he was immunized. You know, later found out that meant he wasn't vaccinated. He just was immunized. He did his own alternative medicine type thing because he has an allergy to PEG that's in the vaccine. And he got ate alive for it. And all of a sudden, he went from being this darling quarterback to this, oh my God, he's a piece of shit. He doesn't care for anybody. He hates everybody. You know, he doesn't care if people get hurt or die. And then, you know, his family, I remember him getting attacked for his views religiously because he kind of spoke out against religion a little bit. And I remember it came out that his family basically hadn't talked to him in a while. And I remember people kind of attacked him for that. Like, even if his family doesn't like him, you know, and it was always interesting because really all that happened after watching this documentary. I'm like, man, I relate to this so much. All he did was question everything. He just started questioning his beliefs. He started questioning everything. And he wanted to know everything there was to know about the things in his life. What about religion? What about the people that don't have access? This is the one thing it said. What about people that don't have access to the Bible? What about people that don't have access to religion? How do they live life? What do they do? And he started questioning those things. And he started his spiritual journey. And I can relate to a lot of the way he feels and a lot of the journey. And I don't think people understand watching people make fun of him. I remember when he talked about his darkness retreat. I think it was like 2 years ago. Yeah, when he talked about his darkness retreat and people were like making fun of him for that. Like, oh, he's going to go to the darkness and somehow get answers. And those people don't fucking understand. They haven't gone on a spiritual journey. They're just doing whatever the fuck they're doing in life. They're just listening or believing in whatever the hell they want to believe. They're not willing to look at alternative ways to anything. They're not looking at, you know, methods for trapped for getting rid of trauma. They're not, they think they have this perfect life, or maybe they do have a perfect life. Awesome. You have a perfect life. You've had no trauma in your life. You have no reason to question anything. That's great. Don't question it. That's totally fine. But don't knock someone else for doing something that you might think silly, because I don't know what to tell you. It's not, I can't wait to do a darkness retreat. Like, that sounds so freaking awesome. There's so many things I can't wait to do. I'm really looking forward to doing a darkness retreat, but like, to make fun of him for that. And then he talks about how he's going to do ayahuasca, and everyone starts calling it a drug. And oh my God, he's doing ayahuasca. Can't believe it. What's he doing? He should be, getting ready for the football season and all this shit. People talk shit on him. And it kind of occurred to me of like, people that are on a spiritual, I don't think people will get it unless you're on a spiritual journey and understanding what he's doing, understanding the journey that he's on to find himself, to find the path that he wants to take in his life, and to find himself. Unless you've been on that path, I don't think you could understand Aaron Rodgers. So no wonder why half the world's attacking him, because half the world doesn't go through that. Half the world stays in whatever the fucking shit they were raised up in. They don't question things. They don't question their beliefs. They don't question the beliefs of others. They don't ask for more depth into things. And that's all Aaron Rodgers has done. And that's the path he's on. And he got knocked down for it. And in the documentary, he just talks about saying, like, I don't care. I'm going to be me. I'm going to use my voice. I'm going to speak up. And the moment he started speaking up with his voice, the moment he started being himself and being authentic, the world was shitting on him. But the people closest to him weren't. And I was like, that right there is exactly what I want. That right there is exactly what I've been calling myself to do. That's the reason I started these. I just started with them with a script. But that's exactly what I want. I want to just use my fucking voice to put it out there, to just have that, because it feels good to be able to be authentic. And I get to take that. And think of this, I almost can think of this as a practice. I get to record myself being very authentic with my thoughts. And then when I'm in conversation with others, it's going to be that. When I'm in conversation, I'm talking fast because I'm passionate about this. When I'm in conversation with others, I now get to go be authentic with them, because I practice it when I'm doing these. I practice authenticity in so many of my conversations every day. There's not much that I'm authentic, but it's easier for me to be authentic with the people I'm close to than it is to be authentic with, I don't even know who's on the other side of the screen. I don't know who's watching this. Being authentic with somebody who I don't necessarily feel like, I don't know the safety there. I don't know if me being authentic is going to have you say, fuck you, Eddie, or if you're going to be like, man, this guy is, I want to be this dude's, closer with this dude, this guy's friend, or whatever the case may be. When I know that I can be authentic over here and this person's not going to judge me for it, this person's not going to attack me for it. They might challenge me, but they're not going to attack me and call me piece of shit. It's easier to be authentic with them. But at the end of the day, I deserve to be authentic with everybody. I want to be authentic with everybody. And if it hurts your feelings, it hurts your feelings. If we don't vibe, we don't vibe. I'm tired of not being authentic. And I have spoken up, and people have left my life. There's people that were wanting to get close to me. The more I started talking, the more I started kind of being authentic, the farther away they got from me. And I'm okay with that. I don't care. You don't want the authentic version of me? You don't want the authentic version of Aaron Rodgers? Fuck it. Why care? Go away then. I don't give a shit. Bye. I don't know what to tell you. And so that really, I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to do an episode like this. I wanted to get on and record myself and say, basically what I started at the beginning of, like, I don't want to do that scripted bullshit. I want to jump on and be authentic. I've been wanting to do that for 2 weeks now. And I watched that documentary last night, and I was like, it's time to do it. Get on there, speak your thoughts, and get it done. And be authentic and talk about what you're going through. Talk about what's on your mind. So that's what I did. And I'm clearly fired up about that documentary. Like, I feel him so much. Like, he's a badass. I don't care about your opinions on him. He's a badass. He is someone that I get. I'm like, man, I've been there. My own spirit. I didn't grow up with religion. I didn't grow up with spirituality. I grew up with nothing around me like that. I didn't start my spiritual journey until 7 years ago, I think. whenever I went to Impact. I freaking remember when that was. That's when I started my spiritual journey. I've always had aspects of my life that were rooted in like some kind of spirituality, but it was nothing I ever really like took on or identified with or, really looked into. There's just like certain aspects of the way I felt about things that now I could see where like that was a little bit of me like believing in something. And it wasn't religion. I've always thought about it as like universe. I've never been one to, worship a god or anything like that. So I've always had it, but I didn't start that spiritual journey until like 7 years ago. And so to watch that documentary and see kind of Aaron Rodgers talk a little bit about where he started his spiritual journey, and then to flash back to watching the headlines, I've been a big football fan majority of my life. So I remember all the headlines that were on that documentary. I'm like, I remember when he was being attacked for that. I remember when him being attacked for that. And to watch him kind of discuss that, I was like, this dude's just on his freaking journey, man. How can we knock that dude down? Because you think you're better than him because he doesn't want to be vaxxed? Because he talked about being immunized? Because he questioned his religion? Because he wants to go to a darkness retreat to find answers and sit in darkness? Have you ever looked into a darkness retreat or possible benefits to it? If you haven't, don't knock that guy for what he's doing. Oh, he did ayahuasca. Have you ever looked into that and the power that can come and how that's been used for millennia? Have you? You haven't. So why are you beating this guy down? Don't do it. I feel that so hard. Watching that documentary, it's like, yeah, I got fired up. Clearly, I'm still fired up from that. Then I might have to watch it again. Stay fucking fired up. But anyways, there's my thoughts today. I still think I'm going to wear white more because I think I like white. I went through a phase a few months ago where I was fucking wearing dark clothes. I kind of like white. I think I'm going to start wearing white. I went to an all white event on, when was that? Was it Saturday? I think it was Saturday. I haven't worn all white basically ever. Well, I still need white shoes because I don't have white shoes or socks, but I wore white pants and a white shirt. And I don't think I've ever worn all white like that. And I was like, this actually feels good. It looks good. It feels good. I feel like I'm walking light. So I'm just going to start wearing all white. Anyways, I got warmed up. See, the beginning was warmed up. I think I was probably still in my head at the beginning. I'm going to keep going. I was talking on the phone with a friend the other day, yesterday, fuck if I know. I was talking with a friend, and no, it wasn't yesterday. It was 2 nights ago. 2 nights ago, and we were talking for a good almost 2 hours. I think I think it was almost 2 hours. The first little bit was kind of us just catching up, talking about things. We were getting into stuff, and then about like an hour and 10 minutes into the conversation, like it started getting deeper, and the layers started getting peeled back, and reflections started getting shown, and perspectives started getting put out there, and our experiences started getting put out there. And all of a sudden, like, we're kind of like, I'm taking things from them. Like, oh, I've never, like, that's a great, perspective. And oh, they shared something with me that I was like, okay, they shared that with me. I didn't feel obligated to share something with them, but because I had shared part of something with them in the past and it necessarily wasn't like the full picture, and they just shared the full picture, I was like, okay, there's also something in the past that I shared with them that I haven't shared the full picture with. Here's the full picture. And that felt so good. And that happened after the first, little bit of talking. It takes a while sometimes to really tap into that and get into that. And that's what I love about long conversations. And that's what I love about like deep conversations. Having just a 10-minute conversation, it's hard to necessarily get that deep. Some people I can. There's one friend who I haven't spoken with in a couple months for reasons of my choosing. But me and her, like, I could pick up I could pick up the phone right now. We could have a deep conversation instantly. Like, we could get that deep. But that's not always easy to do. Like, sometimes it takes a while to warm up. So, like, now that I'm talking now, and the voice I'm talking in, how I'm talking, the space I'm talking at, I can feel this being less in my head and more of what's coming to me and more of coming out. Whereas at the beginning was a lot in my head, because it has been a lot that I was thinking about for the last couple of weeks, or the last week, the last few days. Man, my life is jumbled together. Been thinking about doing it for a while. And so for me, to now tap into this. It's like, it's just that reminder. And I remember this with the Joe Rogan podcast. Joe Rogan had talked about, someone on his podcast had talked about, I think it was Shane Gillis that might've said it. Anyone can fake their interview for 45 minutes. And that's why he didn't want to do a 45-minute interview with Kamala Harris. And it wasn't necessarily about faking. It was about, you don't really get to the meat and potatoes of somebody. Like, it's hard. Like, you have to break down someone's walls almost, allow them to feel safe, and trusting of a situation where they can drop those walls down and allow themselves to come out, take off the masks that they're wearing and allow themselves to come out. And that, I literally, the moment I started talking about the Aaron Rodgers thing, I felt that happen. And if you watch this in its entirety, you will see that happen. You will see the beginning, the way I was speaking and how I was going about it compared to how I am now since the Aaron Rodgers thing. And it's a complete difference. I can feel the difference. And that is when I know that I'm tapped in more into my authenticity and more into what I want to share and how I love conversations going. And that's why I like having longer conversations. So fuck it. If this podcast turns out to be an hour, it turns out to be an hour. Someone listens to me for an hour, great. They listen to me for 10 minutes because they say, nope, not my thing, then I don't give a shit. I'd rather talk for an hour and get 30 minutes of real, raw, relational type of conversation out of me than this 20 minutes where I'm going to be in my head. And that right there to me is why podcasts like Joe Rogan are so popular, because he talks for 3 or 4 hours with people. You get into some cool shit when you're able to do that. You get people to drop their walls and masks and feel safe and be able to discuss things and have a wide variety of conversations. And that's why they're so successful doing that. That's why they're so popular. That's why everyone loves watching them. You know, not that I want to be those. I don't care to be that. I'm just simply saying, me being able to have these long talk for whatever and be able to notice when that happens. It's like, no wonder why people have these longer podcasts. No wonder why I enjoy the deeper conversations with others, because I know that comes out. I see it often. It's easier with some friends. I mean, I just spoke about the one friend I know I could call, but also there's some other friends that I know, like the first 10 minutes, it's going to be kind of like, hey, hi, you know, like, how you doing? You know, some hugs and filling each other out. And then it's 10 minutes and we're able to get into kind of the meat potatoes of life and conversations and get deeper and be philosophical. And other people I might have to talk to for an hour before we get there. I will say this, every single time though, there's not one person in this world that if I have a conversation with, I can't do that with, but sometimes it takes longer than others. And I believe the only reason it takes longer than others is all about the consistency in the connection. And the more times it happens, the easier it is to get to. The deeper you get with someone, the easier it is to get deep with them. It's kind of like, you know, riding a bike. The more you ride a bike, the easier it is to get riding a bike. The more you have deep intellectual conversations, the easier it is to have deeper intellectual conversations with somebody. And so the more I do that with a certain person, with that certain person, it gets easier and easier. But it's different for everybody because we're all our own energetic beings. And so my energy meshing with your energy, it's gonna be different. And over time, it's gonna get easier. Over time, we'll get to those deeper intellectual conversations quicker and quicker. I believe that to be true for everybody. Once those walls and masks go down with someone and you trust them with the things that you're going to say, and you can trust them with your authenticity and be genuine with them and authentic and real and raw and relational with them, like, man, that's the meat and potatoes of any friendship to me. And those are the friendships I fucking love the most. And not everyone can do that. And it's okay. Not all of it. 7 years ago, I couldn't do that. I kept shit very, very surface level. I kept shit very much of like, no, I don't want to talk about things. I didn't get deep. I had walls and masks up. God, you're not getting close to me. What the fuck? Hell no. I'm not going to let you see my real thoughts and opinions and know about, like, fuck that. Now, if I don't have that, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I need that, you know? And the beautiful thing is to be challenged in that too, right? Like to be able to be authentic and then have someone authentically challenge you because they are being authentic too and totally have maybe a different perception or reality than what you do, and to be able to challenge me and question me, not in a defiant way, but question me and just, asking for clarity or questioning me on how or why I believe something and where I got my facts or my experience from to believe that. I'm going to end on this. And this is going to end what I just said, and I'm going to end it here. For instance, my belief that the universe or God, whatever you want to call the higher thing that there is, the higher power, whatever you want to call that, it doesn't matter to me, whatever you want to call it. I do have the belief that when that higher power when it's your time for them to have you no longer serve in the physical form and they're ready for you to go to heaven or become energy and expand, when it's your time, it's your time. And I don't know how I don't know, and nor does it matter if this story is true that I was told when I was younger. And my dad told me this story from what I remember. And this is what I remember of the story that he told me. And it was that when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. And for proof of that, the story he had told me was that there was someone who had rolled their car. Their car had rolled like a crap ton of times down this mountainside, came to a complete stop. It rolled enough and their car was demolished enough that you think they would have died in that rollover. They didn't. They were able to walk away. They had, scrapes and bruises. They were cut. They were hurt. But when the paramedics, when everyone showed up to the scene of the accident, they went to the car and the lady that was driving wasn't in the car. They were able to follow her footprints as well as some blood that was there. And they were tracking that. So she didn't die in this rollover that they were shocked about. Like, how did she not die in this? As they're following everything, they found her. They found her because she had slipped on a rock and she died from hitting her head on that rock. She slipped on a rock, fell, and hit her head. She didn't die from the rollover crash. That didn't take her. What took her was the rock. And that was my dad's story of being able to say, when it's your time, it's your time. The universe, the higher power, whatever, this accident happened. They didn't die. The universe is like, no, we needed you. we needed you. You have a higher purpose now. We have something for you. Like, you're no longer needed here. Whatever you might believe in that. And she died, not from that crazy car crash that she should have died in, that you would think she would have. She died because she slipped on a rock going away from that accident. And that was my dad's way of saying, when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. So whether or not that's a true story doesn't matter to me. What matters is the point that he was making of, when it's your time to go, it's your time to go. And there's not much you can do to stop it, if anything. And that's kind of always the belief I've had. So I don't remember where I was going with that. My ADHD, I know I said I was going to tie it in, but it's kind of the belief I've had. So I've taken that belief with me everywhere. So I feel that my spiritual journey has led me to that. I would say that's kind of my first taste of what I had for spirituality, but I don't fucking remember how I was going to tie this in, guys. I'm going to call this authentic ADHD conversations. What? I don't even fucking remember then. Authentic ADHD dialogue. That's what I should do. Oh, it is an AD. I just need to add a couple more to it. It's authentic dialogues. I just need to add 2 more to it. So it's AD. It's the authentic dialogues high dimension or something. I don't fucking know. Then it can be an ADHD podcast to completely make sense of. I'm done. This is it. This is the end. I'm going to enjoy my coffee. I'm going to get on my phone, see what the world has said to me today. And yeah, anyways, I appreciate you guys for listening, making it, especially if you made it this far. If you made it this far into listening, then you're in my corner. You're a special person in my corner, I'm sure. So, man, I just thought of other ways people have helped me. I also had someone give I asked for clothes and people delivered. People got me clothes for my kids too. God, so many blessings out there. So much stuff to be grateful for. God, I'm so full of gratitude today. I've been full of gratitude since Monday. It's just continuing into my week. We're now on Thursday, and I'm still just allowing myself to just have so much fucking gratitude for this world. So much gratitude for the people in my life, people that have given gifts to my kids, passed down their clothes to my kids, people that have opened up their doors to my kids and me, the people that have allowed me to go to their events and partake in receiving their gifts. So much gratitude today. I'm not going to let it go. I get to be in gratitude every fucking day. It's so powerful. So anyways, okay, now I'm done with this ADHD dialogue. Coffee's not, they say coffee normally helps with my ADHD. Maybe I just haven't had enough or it's not strong enough. Oh. Anyways, yeah, I'll have a good day, a good week, a good holiday. I was going to say you won't see me until but I don't know when you'll see me again because I'm just going to start doing these whenever the hell I feel like them. Maybe you'll get 5 a week and then maybe you won't get shit for weeks on end and then I'll appear again. I don't really know. I don't really care. It's just going to happen when it happens. So have a good holiday. Enjoy your Christmas. Enjoy your family time. Enjoy whatever it is you celebrate, whatever it is you believe in. Just have fun with it. Enjoy it. Enjoy this time of the year because it doesn't come around but once a year. And just enjoy the blessings you have in your life. Sit in gratitude for all the things that you have and the blessings that you have in your life this week. And just keep it close to your heart. Reach out for help if you need it to anyone. I promise you, even if it feels like people aren't paying attention or witnessing you, they are. And that's it. Stay connected, stay loved, and we'll talk later.